Hello and welcome to my Premier League review. Thank you so much for tuning in. This should be going out as a premiere, but if it hasn't, there's clearly been a problem. I did try to premiere the predictions and there was an issue, so that is something that if you're not watching this as a premiere or you missed it, then there might have been an issue. But thanks so much for everyone who has tuned in. A wonderful array of fixtures this week. Some really big surprises, some great games, a lot of goals as well. So let's get straight into this weekend's fixtures. And we start off at the Amex Stadium between Brighton and Leicester City. This one finished 1-1 and there was a red card in this one. Glenn Murray gave Brighton the lead. A knockout cross was headed on by Murray into the back of the net and they went 1-0 ahead. James Maddison was sent off for a foul after 26 minutes and then 2 minutes later he was booked for simulation for diving in the penalty area, and it was a clear dive and he received a red card. 2 bookable offences. This meant that Abora came off, and indeed he came off on just a few minutes later. In the second half, they tried to make changes at Leicester to try and get back into the game despite being down to 10 men, bringing on Jamie Vardy and Iheanacho, and those two were key in getting the equaliser. Iheanacho was fouled for the penalty, quite harsh, but it was a shocking bit of defending. Not shocking as in it was a terrible foul, it was just really naive play. And then they got the penalty and Vardy absolutely smashed it into the right corner of the net and gave them a 1-1 draw. After that, they did try and change the game. Brighton themselves, Andone and Locardier both coming off the pitch. Overall, the game was fairly balanced, slightly a bit more possession for Brighton, and that is expected given that they were with 10 men, Leicester City, for 2/3 of the game, which is a lot of that game. But a good point for both. Brighton, they are on 15 points, they're now 7 points away from the relegation zone, and that's their aim once again, is to stay up. They had 2 defeats in a row to Cardiff and Everton, so they've stopped that little bit of a losing run with a great point against Leicester City. Leicester City, they are unbeaten in their last 4. A draw against West Ham, and then that 1-0 win over Cardiff, followed by 2 draws against Burnley and then Brighton, and they currently sit in 18th place. So a decent little spell of form for Leicester. Despite only 1 win, they've not been defeated in their last 4 games, which is very good. Next we travel to Everton and Cardiff. I personally thought this one would be a comfortable Everton win. They've looked really good in the last few weeks. Went to Stamford Bridge and got a very good point. But it was a little bit more difficult than it looked. Weirdly, Neil Etheridge was booked for delaying the game. This was in the 43rd minute of the game, before half time, and the game was still 0-0. That's shocking. And Sigurdsson scored the only goal of the game after Etheridge parried out a shot straight to Sigurdsson, who hit it in from close range. Overall, I think they probably deserved a victory. They had several attempts. They had one off the line as well. Sol Bamba clearing off the line. 71% possession for Everton, 16 attempts, 8 on target to the 1 of Cardiff. They dominated the game and thoroughly deserved the win. But I think they'll be quite disappointed it was by the only one goal. But they have, with that victory, gone above Manchester United into 6th place, which they will be absolutely delighted with. If they finish 6th place at the end of the season, they would be absolutely over the moon that they have broken that sort of top 6 dominance, which is really good. Good form over the last 5 games, 3 wins, 1 draw and 1 defeat against Manchester United. So really good form. The next game is, of course, the Merseyside derby, where they travel to Anfield looking to break their duck there. They haven't won there for a very long time. And they'll be full of confidence. They've been looking good. They've been scoring goals. They've been playing some great football. Cardiff, I don't think they'll be too disheartened with this. But they have a massive game on Friday against Wolves. And Wolves just started to slip down the table. 4 defeats in their last 5 games. They've really been poor. Defeats against Huddersfield, Tottenham, Brighton and Watford. And I think that is really troubling. It's weird that Wolves, they've gone to Old Trafford, got a point, played very, very well. They went to Arsenal, got a point, probably should have won the game. And they played City at the start of the season and got a point as well at home. And yet they can't beat Huddersfield. It's just crazy. And it's very, very concerning for Nuno Espirito Santo. But Cardiff, they really, really are going to have a massive game on the Friday night football, and a win could take them outside the relegation zone. So they'll be fully focused on that now, and that Everton game will be behind them. So that two sides that are in bad form on Friday night. Next we go to two sides that were also in bad form coming into this game, Fulham and Southampton. This game was absolutely fantastic, end to end, goals left, right and centre, chances galore, an amazing advert for the Premier League. Unfortunately for Southampton, they were on the end of a 3-2 defeat. Armstrong gave Fulham the lead, and when that one went in, there was sort of a, oh no, not again, we're not going to lose again, Fulham. But they reacted brilliantly after that goal. 2 goals, one from Mitrovic. Really poor defending from Southampton. Left him free. You can't leave somebody of Mitrovic's quality free unmarked. And then Schürrle just before half-time. A great ball in by Ryan Sessegnon, who was absolutely fantastic, made it 2-1. Stuart Armstrong equalised, getting his second of the game and his second overall for Southampton. Not scored for Southampton before since joining from Celtic. A lovely finish into the top corner. Wonderful goal. But less than 10 minutes later, Southampton conceded again. Sessegnon headed on, and Mitrovic with a lovely finish into the corner. Nothing the keeper could have done about that. And that's how it remained. Massive win for Ranieri, and it was a huge statement. Going there, getting their first win straight away, doubled the amount of wins they've had already this season. Absolutely fantastic by Claudio Ranieri. Southampton, it was pretty poor. They were by far the better team. They had most possession, they had the most chances, but they scored twice. But a key thing with what's gone wrong with Southampton is they're not scoring with their chances they have. 19 shots they had, 8 on target, and once again they'll be kicking themselves that they don't take these chances. You've got to wonder how long Mark Hughes can keep his job. For the first time, I think this season, they have just slipped into the relegation zone, or certainly for the last sort of 5 or 6 games. When the table starts to take its shape, and it's concerning. Cardiff, they've sort of started to pick up. They're not conceding as many goals. Just that 1-0 defeat against Leicester, very good side, and a 1-0 defeat against Everton. They're starting to concede less goals. They have had 2 wins in their last 5 games. Fulham, 2 wins this season. 1 yesterday on Saturday, and that's a big win. That goes to show that they are going to be playing a different style. They're going to try and get more compact, use their pace, the likes of Schürrle and Sessegnon, to try and cause teams problems, and they could be also on the up. Burnley, they have a massive game this evening against Newcastle. Both of those are on 9 points. Crystal Palace got a point at Old Trafford. Very good point indeed. Newcastle won their last 2 games. Huddersfield have won 2 of their last 3, picking up 7 points. 2 points picked up in their first 10 games, and then 7 picked up in the last 3. So teams are starting to pick up. Southampton, it's not really happening for them. They've conceded a hell of a lot of goals as well. 24 goals, 6-1. They lost to Manchester City a couple of weeks ago. Really need a win, and it doesn't get any easier. Manchester United at home next. They need to get something out of that one. Talking of Manchester United, that's where we go, and they're fairly lucky they didn't lose this one. It was a very poor game. People know that I'm not the biggest fan of Manchester United. I try to remain balanced, so I'm going to try and give a balanced view. They should be winning this game, there's no doubt about it, but they both had goals disallowed, both of which were correct. Both were offside, so I have no problems with anything there. They had several chances. Crystal Palace, Townsend should have scored. Van Aanholt should have done better. Right at the end, Hennessy had made some decent saves throughout the game, but Lukaku with a header, and it's an amazing save by Wayne Hennessy to keep Crystal Palace in it. Some really strange substitutes for Manchester United. They brought on Fellaini for Lingard. I thought that was quite a strange move. And then he took off Pogba, who's really the key driver in everything that they do, and brought on Sanchez. It's quite concerning. It really is, when you're being outplayed for periods by Crystal Palace, who are poor. It's really concerning. And they are currently in 7th place. Crystal Palace, they're on 9 points, 1 point outside the relegation zone. They have a massive game on Saturday. Burnley at home. Now, their home form, they haven't won a game this season at home. Their away form is okay, 7 points picked up, which is more than Everton, which is brilliant. Everton are doing very well. Their home form, 2 points picked up. That's the worst in the league. So that is something they need to change rapidly if they want to stay in the league, because they can't just rely on their away form, because at some point they're going to get caught. Next, we go to Liverpool, who had a comfortable 3-0 victory over Watford. Salah opened the scoring in the second half. Mane with a shot, and it parried out to Salah, who hit him from close range. Alexander-Arnold with a wonderful free kick, beautiful, as he always seemed to do from that sort of range. When he hits them well. And then Henderson was sent off. 2 silly fouls, really, that he didn't need to give, and he knew straight away that he was going to be sent off. And I think it'd be really disappointing to miss the Merseyside derby. But 7 minutes later, it was all sorted out. Firmino getting the last goal. 3-0, comfortable win in the end. Somewhere where they struggled last year, drawing 3-3 on the opening day. And this season, they've been a lot more solid. 5 goals conceded. That is an unbelievable amount of goals to have conceded at this stage. Very impressive. 4 wins out of their last 5. Their draw coming against Arsenal, as you would expect. Merseyside derby. It's going to be tough. It always is. But they should have enough to beat them. They also have Manchester United and Bournemouth coming up in the next 3 games. So it could be really hard for Liverpool. If they get through that period, PSG coming up as well, then that is a clear sign that they are going to be a contender come the end of the season. Watford, they are in 9th place. I think that they're just going to be around mid-table come the end of the season, which is absolutely fine. Which is absolutely fine for a club like Watford, as long as they're, playing good football and making things happen, and it's exciting, which it seems to be with a lot of pace in the side. Then there should be no problems there whatsoever. Next, we move on to the champions, Manchester City, who put 4 past West Ham. Goals from David Silva, 2 from Leroy Sané, and then 1 from Raheem Sterling. And I thought Sterling and Sané were absolutely amazing in this game. 2 players with such pace and such creativity, and thoroughly deserved the win. West Ham, they didn't play too bad. They had several chances just go wide. Balbuena with a header just wide. Michail Antonio hit the post. But overall, City dominated and thoroughly deserved to win. They're not going to look back on it and think, oh, mate, what if this would have happened or that would have happened? Because that's not really a game that they expect to win. They always seem to get trounced at home to Man City. I think the last 4 they lost 5-0, 4-0, 3-0 and 4-0 or 4-1 or something. So it's crazy how well they play at the London Stadium. Their next game, Newcastle away, that's going to be a massive test. But they're 12 points. They're 4 points away from the relegation zone. I think they'll be fine as well. It's not really happened as well as they'd have liked, but I feel they'll get better. It's disappointing that they've lost Yarmolenko out for a long time. Somebody that's very key. Ryan Fredericks also picked up an injury as well, so it's disappointing to see that. Next, we have Tottenham versus Chelsea, probably game of the week, and it certainly delivered. In the first half, I thought Tottenham were absolutely outstanding. Eriksen was at the heart of everything, creating chance after chance after chance. Dele Alli opened the scoring after 8 minutes, and Eriksen free kick headed on by Ali into the back of the net. Kane from long distance with David Luiz just getting out of the way of it, which was very weird. He made it 2-0. That's how it remained at half-time. Just after half-time, 54 minutes on the clock, Son Heung-min ran seemingly the whole of the pitch. He went past Jorginho as if he wasn't there, and then past David Luiz into the bottom corner. One of the best finishes you'll see all year. Giroud got one 5 minutes before the end of the game, but it was just a consolation goal. Chelsea, they bossed possession as you would expect, but besides that, they were absolutely outplayed in every other aspect of the game. Tottenham 18 shots, 9 on target to the 2 of Chelsea. And it was a very, very, very brilliant performance by Tottenham. And Tottenham thoroughly deserved the win. They could have won this game 4 or 5-1. Sarri's Chelsea was everywhere. Jorginho was nowhere to be seen. Kante was too far forward. And maybe he needs to have a look at the midfield and change a few things around. I'm not going to tell him what to do because I think he's an incredible manager and they're a great side to watch. But this sort of thing can happen when you leave yourself so exposed. Their next game, Chelsea, is Fulham at home. They'll be looking to get another 3 points after without winning in the last 2 games, and Fulham bottom the league. You'd be expecting them to beat those. Tottenham, their next game is away at Arsenal in the North London derby. Massive game there. If Tottenham went there and won, I think that would be a huge, huge statement. But they don't seem to do that, so I'm not sure how that one will go. But that was all of the Saturday fixtures. We move on to Sunday. 2 games here. The first I covered on the live stream. If you don't know what those are, I do a live watch along. Get involved with the chat. Sometimes I have a guest, and it's really, really fun. So if you've never seen any of those, feel free to check them out. Happen around 3 or 4 times a week, or 2 to 4 times a week. Bournemouth versus Arsenal. It was a great start by Bournemouth. They had a David Brooks goal chalked off for offside, potentially the wrong decision there. It was so tight. There was one angle where he was definitely off, and there was another one they kept playing where he was on. So that's just how hard these jobs are. Lerma with a great finish opened the score, and unfortunately it was in the wrong net, hammering it past Begovic to make it 1-0. A great goal by Josh King just before half-time, made it 1 apiece. Second half, it was fairly 50-50, I felt, with Arsenal creating probably the better of the chances. And they only had 1 shot on target in that second half, but they took it. Kolasinac with a great run, crossing in, and Aubameyang hitting it in from close range. After a difficult few weeks for Unai Emery, he will be very, very glad to get 3 points. Draws against Wolves, Palace and Liverpool, as well as a draw against Sporting Lisbon in the Europa League. I think that they'll be very, very happy with those 3 points. They are a point behind Chelsea and 3 points behind Tottenham. So that means if they win on Sunday in the North London derby, they could potentially go above them if scores went their way, which they probably won't. They need a big goal difference. But Chelsea, they might struggle against Fulham. Their former manager, Claudio Ranieri, is manager of those. So it could be tough, but they're very much in amongst the top 5 now. I wouldn't say that they're going to catch Liverpool or Man City, but they will be looking to get in a top 4, which I think would be a very, very good achievement. Finally, the next game, Wolves versus Huddersfield. And Wolves just seem in total disarray at the minute. I'm not sure what's going on. A very, very, very poor performance. Huddersfield were absolutely brilliant. I just want to say, what a performance by Phil Billing. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. He cleared one off the line. It was millimetres from going over. Really, really incredible performance. 2 goals from Aaron Moy, both outside the area, 1 from a free kick. Thought Patricio should have done a bit better there, but 2 goals from Moy sealed the win. This is a very, very, very good confidence boost, going away to a side like Wolves and getting the 3 points. In the 6th minute, they opened the scoring. In the 74th minute, they made it 2-0, and it was a done deal. Very, very good win for Huddersfield. That sees them rise from the bottom of the league from 20th to 14th, going ahead of Newcastle, Crystal Palace, Burnley, Southampton, Cardiff and Fulham. They'll be absolutely delighted with their form. 7 points picked up from the last 9. Huddersfield versus Brighton is their next game. Massive, massive game at home. A win here could see them rise even further. 3 wins out of 4 if they win that one. Huge game for David Wagner's men. They looked buried. They looked a bit dead and buried, to be fair, but they've come up trumps once again. It seems like every time people start to write them off, they come up with the answer. Absolutely massive, massive 3 points there. So big news there in the Premier League. So many great results. Thanks so much for everyone who has tuned in. If you haven't already, please smash the like button, subscribe if you are new. I do this every single week, so feel free to check out my other content as well. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Mike, and I will see you soon.